Former President Trump has been indicted. Those were the words millions of Americans have either been waiting for or dreading for almost 7 years. In addition to his recent indictment in New York, our good friend Don still has 3 potential indictments possibly heading his way, all of them objectively serious crimes. On this first episode, join us on a journey of clarity as we dive into the story that will be leading the news cycle for years to come. Hi, I'm Tim.
I'm Andrew.
And this is Indicted, the alleged crimes of Donald J. Trump.
What's going on here? That's really what we want to talk about today. Kind of a general overview of what we know about this latest and first indictment of a president, of a former president. What we know is that Trump faces more than 30 counts related to business fraud in the state of New York, but the indictment still remains under seal. We might know more about that tomorrow or when you're listening to this, audience, as it seems like it will be released after he's actually been arraigned. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office has been investigating Trump in connection with his alleged role for hush money payments and covering up the adult film star Stormy Daniels' affair that dates back to the 2016 presidential election. Trump and his allies have already attacked the Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, and advertised a Tuesday night speech back at Mar-a-Lago that will likely be given by Trump and given him more opportunity to claim he's being politically persecuted. Now, what do we expect? Today, Trump left Florida at about noon Eastern time, and he landed in New York at LaGuardia around 3 p.m. Eastern time. He's going to stay in Trump Tower tonight, and he's expected to leave New York immediately after his arraignment tomorrow, Tuesday, back to Florida. All trials tomorrow.
Tuesday,
all the trials
for that matter. Tuesday, yeah. What is the date tomorrow? So for anybody who listening this past and
4th, March 4th.
Not in the past, in the future, but April 4th.
Tuesday, March 4th, 2023, or April 4th, excuse me. You're absolutely right. All trials and most other court activity is going to be halted on that day before he's slated to arrive. So there won't be anybody else that doesn't work for the Manhattan DA or for the police or for the Secret Service there when he's there. The Secret Service and the New York Police Department and the court officers are all coordinating security for Trump's expected appearance. And the Secret Service is scheduled to accompany Trump in the early afternoon into the district attorney's office, which is the same building as the courthouse in downtown Manhattan. Trump will be booked by the investigators. They will take his fingerprints. Usually a mugshot would be taken, but sources familiar with the preparations are uncertain if that's going to happen because everyone knows what Trump's look like already, and they're worried about it getting leaked, which would be a violation of state law.
Oh, and it would 100% get leaked, too. That's the thing. Even then,
I think he'd leak it.
Just as a side note, I keep hearing Marjorie Taylor Greene saying they're going to take his mugshot. The liberals want him to take his mugshot. They want him smiling, and I hope my president's smiling. It's like I would even go to say they would leak it just as a. It's almost like the what's the. Mickey Blue Eyes, Frank Sinatra's fucking mugshot, was super famous. Lots of mugshots are famous.
El Chapo,
yeah,
mugshot,
and he'll look cool because of it. He will look cool to his base with this mugshot. Continue.
No, you're all good. And in fact, I read today that Trump is planning to fundraise with T-shirts, mugs, collectible portraits of his mugshot.
So it's not even going to get leaked. It's just going to be available.
So if he gets a mugshot, I'm sure we'll wind up seeing it at some point. Typically, after defendants are arrested, they are booked and held in cells near the courtroom before they're arraigned. Most average people like you and I don't get to see a judge on the day they're booked for something. But the former president of the United States does get some special treatment here.
Fair enough.
And he's going to be processed as soon as he is locked in. He's going to be taken to a back set of hallways, to an elevator that's undisclosed, to the floor where the courtroom is located. He'll then come out into a public hallway and walk into the courtroom where he will be arraigned. He's not expected to be handcuffed at any time, but he will be surrounded by armed federal agents for his protection. By the afternoon, Trump is expected to be brought to the courtroom where his indictment will be unsealed, and we'll get to read the official charges.
Oh, shoot.
After he is arraigned, Trump will almost certainly be released on his own recognizance. It is possible, though, perhaps unlikely, that conditions could be set on his travel. that is quite unlikely, as he will be campaigning for president over the next year and a half.
Yeah, it's not going to happen at all.
Secret Service will want to limit the time and space where Trump is to the public. So once the court hearing is over, Trump is expected to walk out again through that public hallway he came down into the back corridors of the district attorney's office and back to a motorcade, which will be waiting for him outside of the public. He'll then head to the airport, which I bet you is where we'll get the shots of him, sticking his hand up in the air and waving to the crowd. And then he will go to Mar-a-Lago, where he has a awesome
campaign rally press conference,
which I
thing.
think we'll watch before I play D&D and play Curse of Strahd tomorrow night. So I'll get to see 2 vampires monologue tomorrow night. It's gonna be great.
Hilarious. How is he gonna make it there? Like, I heard that he was gonna. Is he just how long is this arraignment gonna take then? Because if he's gonna fly from NYC from LaGuardia down to, where Pensacola, wherever the fuck Mar-a-Lago is.
Speaking of someone who has their fair share of time spent in a courtroom for both gain and ill, no felonies, no felonies, audience. I defended a kid in Euless City Court when I was a kid attorney for their little program that they had where you got youth defenders.
Man, I never got to do any of that in school. My school was lacking. That's the Texas school system for you.
I won that case. Yeah,
hell yeah, man.
Got that kid off from a speeding ticket.
That's cool.
Cop didn't show up. I said, if you can't even prosecute, can't even be valid to show up here, why would we?
Oh, maybe the cops won't show up today because it sounded like they didn't want to.
Yeah, they were drawing straws. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah, drawing straws to.
That's what's leaking from the NYPD.
Print his fingers. My God. So
now the good news is I think it'll be televised, Tim. Now,
they do that in New York, and they do that with a lot of. They televised Gwyneth Paltrow's skiing accident trial. I would hope they would televise this.
Much like Trump, that was the least that Gwyneth Paltrow was guilty of.
Yeah.
Like this trial.
Yeah.
Like out of all the things Gwyneth Paltrow has done with her vagina candles, burning down homes across California and Colorado.
It's not her fault. Poor candle usage, everybody. And she was found not guilty.
We'll see how history rewrites that too.
Sure.
And the scourge that is
snake oil saleswoman that she is. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I have to give her some credit. She is Pepper Hart and
Pepper Potts.
Pepper is one of my OG Pepper Potts. Pepper is one of my OG I love. Pepper Hart there is a porn star. Just a quick name drop there for everybody.
Very different person.
Adult film actress. Excuse me. What can
Tony
I say? Stark's
wife.
I'm an educated man in many facets. That being said, not Tony Stark's wife, but we are really going off on a tangent here. The arraignment probably will be televised, much like Gwyneth Paltrow's hearing. Several media outlets, including CNN, have asked a New York judge to unseal the indictment and permission to broadcast Trump's expected appearance at the courtroom Tuesday. New York Times, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal all did the same. If the judge does not grant the media outlets unsealing requests, it's expected that the indictment will be made public when Trump appears in court. So either way, we're going to get the indictment, but whether or not we actually see the court is still up for question. I can't
imagine they're going to do that. I just can't, to televise it. I don't, out of respect for a president, I don't know, not him, but I think
the judge probably just doesn't want a media circus.
Exactly, that too. I don't foresee this happening. But by the time this is out, I'm for sure. Let's hope this ages well, because I really don't. I don't want it to happen, honestly. I do for the content, but at the same time, I think it'll cause some crazy shit. They're already going to be protesting, led by Marjorie Taylor Greene, while they're out there. And so let's tell us how that went in the comments. And
do I think that it will be more of a shit show if they televise it? Yes. Do I care?
They'll put up screens outside during the protest.
Goblin. I'm a content goblin, and I want my content. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Pile it up in a pile. Let me look at it and stare at my trinkets. That's what I want. So even if it's bad for the country or whatever.
Sure. Yeah. What isn't bad for the country these days, really? But
yeah.
Okay.
The workers' revolution would be great for the country.
Oh, anyways, fantastic. Not in Minecraft, believe it or not. So that's a Discord
that doesn't
joke
work
for
anymore.
Anybody. Yeah, it doesn't work anymore. So never mind. Okay, so the judge, Judge Juan Merchan, is that Judge Juan Merchan. Merchan? Who knows? He does. That guy knows.
Merchan.
Andrew knows.
Merchan. I don't know. I just say words and they come out of my mouth.
It's fine.
He's an acting New York Supreme Court justice, and he actually has sentenced Trump's close confidant, Alan Weisselberg, to prison over the Trump Organization tax fraud trial. And he oversaw former advisor Steve Bannon's criminal fraud case, which Steve Bannon was pardoned for by Donald Trump.
Yes, he was. After being arrested on some Chinese billionaire's boat. Isn't that how that went down?
That's true. He got arrested on a Chinese billionaire's yacht. Yeah. Which, China's great about taking their billionaires' yachts away when they screw up. We should probably look at that.
Which they did,
with some Norfolk Southern. On that guy, I don't know. They get rid of a lot of billionaires. Billionaires just disappear in China all the time. And, if you're going to disappear someone...
It's like communism doesn't like billionaires. It's crazy.
They got a few things going right over there. That being said...
Just a few.
Just a few.
Just a few.
They lifted more people out of poverty than any other.
Yeah, and they're fighting global warming better than anybody. Okay, next.
And they're becoming trading partners with all of Africa while we sit around with our thumbs in our ass. But whatever. God. Anyways, Merchant does not stand for disruptions or delays. Attorneys who've appeared before.
Which is why they're not going to televise this dude then and there. Like that's like knowing that. Don't look forward to it.
Yeah, attorneys who appeared before him have told multiple news outlets that he maintains a sense of control and doesn't really like to draw considerable attention.
What a refreshing thing.
Being the first judge, against overseeing the indictment of a former president. Trump attorney Timothy Palatore said in an interview Friday that on CNN that Merchant was not easy on him when he tried a case before him, but he will likely be fair. This accent is completely assumed, but I assume all of Trump's attorneys sound like this.
I've tried a case in front of him before. He could be tough. I don't think it's necessarily going to be something that's going to change his ability to evaluate the facts and the laws in this case. I mean, I like it, the meatball.
Every single, I don't feel like that's offensive because every single person who has been in some sort of legal representation of him, not every one of them, but like Michael Cohen, the Mooch, this guy, Taco Pina, who he pronounces for sure Topo Chico or something like that.
These men were all lawyers in ancient Rome in another life. That's how Italian they are.
That's how Italian
they all were defending Caesar from his genocide.
But they all seem like mobsters too, especially Taco Pina. That guy, if he is not a mob lawyer, I will eat my hand. Like he's had to.
Fun quick aside note for the ADHD cast that is this podcast. Did you know when the Americans showed up and invaded Sicily and Italy in World War II, the reason that they moved so quickly up the front, besides, great military tactics and the horrible Italian army that's been horrible in every war they've ever fought since the 1600s, is because the local mafia dons just walked out and were like, hey, yeah, Americans, sweet, let's make a deal. And just made immediate deals to help take over.
It's bad for business, right? Dude, that's the thing. So the similar thing.
Looks great. I got a bunch of soldiers. I can sell liquor and drugs and sex.
Similar quick side thing regarding the mafia trying to help out America in this sense was after 9/11. They were like, listen, FBI, we know the docks better in New York than you do. Why don't you let us patrol it and we'll take care of any Al Qaeda trying to slip in? And they're like, no, because we don't want you to murder them. They're like, well, you're going to do the same thing, aren't you? I'm like, well, no, we're not. We're the FBI. I'm like, sure. Tell that to Martin Luther King, fuckhead.
There's a lot of paperwork we have to sign before we assassinate people at the FBI.
Exactly.
We just encourage civil rights leaders to kill themselves. We don't actually kill them. We just pay other people to do it. What do we look like? The CIA?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Long story short, the mafia for sure took out some Al Qaeda dudes on the ports.
I'm pretty sure the mafia has worked hand in hand with the U.S. government on quite a few.
100%. I would be far to mention they're a branch of the government at some point.
I'm not even talking about just the Italian mafia. I just mean mafia.
Albanians,
across the world.
Everybody. Oh my god. Anyways, this is about the mob. Well, it is kind of about the mafia. It's really not off subject. Don is basically a mob dude. Like he's got tons of connections. Like I'm kind of curious if some of those are going to come out. And he presents himself and he acts like it and he gives people orders like it. And like, sure, be ashamed if you didn't fucking,
You remember the perfect phone call that he got impeached?
Yeah, that one. I was
literally telling Zelensky like do this or I'll let your country be invaded.
Yeah, it sure be a shame if Russia invaded you. Maybe look up Hunter Biden's penis for me, eh? Like,
hey, listen, Nice country you got there. Quite beautiful. I
Yeah.
love Kiev. Kiev is the best. You want to keep it? Better find some Joe Biden Hunter laptop time.
Oh my God. So yeah, he's a mobster, and hopefully he'll be going to jail through all this. What are the charges? Like what were they going to try and fight here? Really?
Well, yeah, we don't know what the specific charges are yet. We assume that there's over 30
Right.
business fraud related charges because essentially, even though he's not being charged with the campaign finance law, whenever you commit business fraud in New York in order to do another crime or while committing another felony,
Right, yeah.
it bumps those misdemeanors up to a felony.
Oh damn!
So
See,
he's not
why
even
would
being
you
charged
do
technically
this?
for
God,
the.
He's
I
so
agree.
dumb.
It's the
Like,
worst case.
He's been a businessman for so long and gotten away with so much shit. Like, how did he
that's why he
step
did
in
it.
it? Like,
That's why he did it. It's because he's Teflon Don. Like he's gotten away with everything his whole
Teflon
life.
Don. Right? Yeah.
And now the fucking chickens are coming to roost. That's all that it is.
Right,
It's like
yeah.
his whole life
Karma.
he's
Simply
had
put.
what do they call it? Not what is it called? It's the influenza pun on being wealthy.
Oh, he's got affluenza.
Affluenza, yeah.
Yeah, he gets out of it
has
because
this
he's
whole
got
thing.
affluenza. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is a man who ran
God.
a casino in Atlantic City into being out of business. He was so bad at it.
Dude, to the point where they ended up demolishing that building just to get rid of the stink.
There's a whole HBO show, which is
You're too sleazy
narrative-
for Atlantic City.
yeah. Like there's a whole HBO show that's a fictional take on how Atlantic City is like a money pit. That like if you run the mob in the city there, you just make infinite money because you're running a casino and liquor.
Yeah.
So it's just like come here and spend all your money and leave my city, you dumb fucks.
Yeah.
And he still couldn't run a casino there.
Oh my God.
profitably.
It's so
But
insane.
point being, and the Central Park 5, and like the
Oh,
first time
God,
he's in the
yeah.
New York Times
Tons of that shit.
is whenever him and his dad were like being racist and who they allowed in their buildings and to rent out. Like he's avoided time and time again. And so what do you do if you're a child that's spoiled and you've been told time and time again it's okay, like you
just
worry
keep
about
doing it.
Like,
It's
you just
lack
keep
of
doing
discipline. Yeah, and luckily the discipline's having here. Like, and are they going to be able to fight any of this? Like, I've heard lots of this may not stick. Like, which I mean, it may not, but I don't know. It seems like if 30 charges, like one of them has to stick. Like,
Well, I don't know. I think that it's either all 30 or none, right? Because the basis of all 30 charges is the same basis. So if you prove it one innocent, it's they're just different examples of him signing pieces of paper 30 different times, right? Like it's a crime every time you lie in your business documents in New York.
Right.
So like he did it 30 times in reference to this specific case. So if he proves that if he makes the judge throw out the case somehow, which I don't think he'll do, but then he will be throwing out all the charges. Now, the statute of limitations comes into some of this, like the fact that it's a special situation, like the fact that they probably would have charged him. They named him individual one when they charged Cohen with this, if he wasn't the current sitting president. So like a lot of factors are in on this. We don't know what's going to happen. What I will say is, yes, I think this is the most flimsy of the cases. I think that they're going to try to get it moved out of Manhattan into a different borough is what I've read.
What would that accomplish? I mean,
well, Manhattan is
judge?
deep blue, the majority of it. So your jury is going to be relatively Democratic and anti-Trump.
Yeah, that's true.
It's only like certain like literal blocks in New York City, very rich blocks that are red. Like
they might accomplish that because that seems more fair to move that away. Like if it is as blue as you're saying, like that's not great and that's not a fair trial at that point.
Well, I mean, I don't think he could get a truly fair trial anywhere. Right?
No, true. No, he's the president.
I don't think any politician can. No. Like we are a divided like era. Like there is no such thing as a fair place, and I think he should be charged in the area where he committed the crime because that's how the system works. And I agree with that aspect of the system. Like you should be prosecuted by the people who you harmed, which in this case would be the Manhattan people in theory. Yeah. So I mean, like. I don't think he can get a fair trial
then he might not
anywhere, really. I mean, like, that was one of the arguments to throw out the case. But I also don't think he get. I mean that both ways. Like, right? If we charged him in fucking Colleyville, Texas, like, he's going to get an unfair trial in his favor. Like, I don't think that there really is a way to separate that. Now I think
you can't because like that's like knowing about a serial killer. You know what I mean?
They'll do jury selection, and there's precedent for this kind of thing, right? Like charging people like Rob Blagojevich and like charging different governors and senators. With
people that are very famous. Like you can't at some point everyone knows who
the jury
Gwyneth
selection
Paltrow
will just.
is.
the jury selection will just be more intense, right?
Yeah.
And they'll find people who don't watch the news or care about it.
Right.
That's what they're going to do. They're going to find people who are like, yeah, I mean, I know who Donald Trump is, but like, I don't really give a shit about any of this. And then they'll be like, cool, you're a great candidate, because both lawyers will go like, I can convince that person, right? Which is what a jury trial is all about. So I mean, like, I think that it's more likely this gets thrown out on principle by the judge to be like, yo, like the crime that they committed that you're associating with this, the election fraud, or not election fraud, the campaign finance problems is out of the statute of limitations. That's the rest of these.
It's not, though,
solid ground
anymore.
Is it not?
No,
Okay.
It's like, apparently, from what I understand, it's not, because it was for Cohen, it was, but now it's, God damn it, I wish I remembered how it went, but like,
well, tune in to Indicted, episode 1, New York.
Yeah, we'll
to
be
get the
telling
answer
you.
to that question,
Yeah.
audience.
This is the intro. All right, give me a break, everybody.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like,
Look,
so.
Here at
But from what I
Shway
understand,
Media, we like to learn how to ride a bike while we're on the roller coaster with it. Like,
Yeah.
that is how we do it.
and then that bike turns out to be a fucking car, baby.
Woo! We're all getting cars. Thanks
A
to the
Datsun,
Bugatti Top
though.
G.
It is a Datsun.
Oh,
so
I thought I was getting
yeah,
a Bugatti.
No,
I put that in my contract, Tim.
No.
I said 1 Bugatti a year.
Yeah, and I didn't sign that. But
yeah, that's right.
yeah, apparently it's not the statute of limitations technically, and I think it's depending on how you look at the law. So judge's interpretation, I don't know, but he can still be charged with this. If the statute of limitations was gone, it's over. There is no case anymore. That's why I think that the DA is confident enough that this isn't the case. But like DAs don't bring cases before that they don't think they can win, right? Like,
Yeah,
that's the
I
whole
agree with
point.
that, yeah.
It's not a good thing, but it is how the country and the DA system works. Know who your DAs are, people. Vote
Very
for the
important
right ones.
elections. Very important elections.
But yeah,
Now, I think that even if legally this is a sound case, and even if he gets caught with it, I agree with you that this is the worst case politically.
Sure.
Either way, no matter the outcome, because what is he doing here? Like, what is the ill intent? He paid off a adult film sex worker, and like, to get her to not talk about it right before the election. Well, I have to agree with every Republican and every Democrat who's being fair that that's a pretty common sounding thing for most politicians to do. Like, I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve to go to jail. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have.
No, it's a normal
indicted
thing.
Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
We should have indicted Bill Clinton. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not saying that that sex pests aren't things that should be held more accountable in our country. I'm just saying that politically, people are going to look at it and be like, this is typical politician shit.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I think, the Georgia case and January 6th.
Which were
and
crimes against the
documents-
country, the United
crimes
States.
against the country.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, everyone, whether the Republicans want to admit it or not, and some of the more establishment ones are happy to admit it out loud that aren't elected. Elected ones won't do it, but pundits will. That, like, January 6th was like a really scary day for a lot of people. We were watching it live
The
and making
people
jokes
there?
as we do with everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. Like, I think that it was a kind of like wake up moment in American psyche of like, oh, wait, we're not. It proved something that I've believed for 10 years, which is, oh, wait, we're no different than in any other country, just like 9/11 did, right? Like, it put that idea into people's head, like, oh, wait, America's just like anywhere else. There could be a coup. Like, there could be something crazy that happens that completely changes our government, and we take that for granted. For as shitty as a government it is, we take for granted that there is some sort of elections with it. And I think that it would stick more in the mind of like establishment Republicans and like people who actually are looking at the long-term goals of history of like, good, I'm glad he got caught on that one, because I don't want anyone to be able to do that. So I think that the other 3 cases that we have coming forward after this, which will all be independent episodes of the new show on Shway Media, Indicted, the special report on all the president's crimes, I think that those are going to be much more consequential in the end. What we're going to remember from this is that this was the first, right? Is that this was the time that Donald Trump got marched into a courtroom for the first time for his actions. I don't really think that it's going to have a long-term political outcome other than it's going to propel him higher in the Republican primary.
Absolutely. Now, do you know, like, what we're here? Why not have some fun speculating? A riot tomorrow.
Ooh, that's my shit, baby. That's my shit. Let's speculate.
I personally think Marjorie Taylor Greene herself wants to get arrested so she can be martyred in some way in that sense. Like I'm the one that I was just like an Antifa. I got arrested for causing a ruckus, except I'm not an Antifa.
They don't arrest us.
I'm
Antifas.
a pho,
George Soros is paid. Yeah, they're fuzz.
They're a pho.
They're fuzz. She's a big old pho. I promise you that.
You can call it a fuck, like a FAHK.
I mean, fascist pretty much works well. Everyone knows what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think that there'll be a big protest. I don't think that there'll be like anything like January 6th because I think NYPD will have the shit locked down.
Yeah.
Like, I think even if they support Trump, they're not going to let people set their city on fire and storm their shit. So I think that there'll probably be a bunch of people protesting in both DC and like New York. And by a bunch of people, I mean like a few thousand. Like,
I think it's going to be in the thousands. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I mean, how many people were at January 6th? Like upwards of 40 to 50,000 people. Like maybe didn't storm the Capitol.
Really? Goddamn.
But at the actual, like, I don't know. Let's look it up before I just talk out my ass. We are speculating, but how many people?
I still think it will be in the it will definitely
30,
be in the thousands. I mean, 30,000 people. Wow.
30,000. No, I'm sorry. Rally organizers told the National Park Service they anticipated 30,000 would attend. Law enforcement said the crowd size of the protest was possibly as much as 80,000.
Wow.
The crowd size at the rally was at least 10,000, according to the Associated Press, but expected to be much more.
Wow. Yeah. So, I mean, dude, it's not Jan 6, but this is like, I know they're going to be more peaceful because we were creeping on their Twitter and Truth. Ugh, gross. Lots of gold advertisements. But like, just telling people to be safe. Don't, this is what they want. Antifa's going to try and do this and that, yada, yada, yada. The same old song and dance. But I don't know. I hope it doesn't get violent. I don't want it to get violent, Marjorie. But I don't know. You fucks carry guns.
I mean, I could eat my words tomorrow. And audience, I know.
I'll be watching it from 12 to.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I get off work at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm taking my lunch late, so I only spend an hour working after my lunch so that I can watch the arraignment happen. And after that, I'm going to jump in with Tim and chat and drink 6 IPAs as quickly as I can while we talk about it. And then at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, I will be told, hey, please come play your light cleric because we're all going to die in this vampire hell world without you.
Sounds like a much better thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the indictment or go play a fantasy game. That sounds peaceful despite the vampire coming after you.
At least I can get regular good wages and healthcare in my fantasy world before I'm slowly turned to an undead minion for the Vampire King. You know, here I just have to become the undead minion for Jeff Bezos and not get healthcare. So
there you go. One last thing before we stop our intro for Indicted, the alleged crimes of Donald J. Trump.
You gotta give me like a 3, 2, 1 so I can like say Indicted at the same time.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Indicted.
Indicted.
We lag because we're on a video call, so it's not going to happen. But yeah, no. One thing I've mentioned on the show before, on ATC before, but that this was the wrong one to go with first. There was a choice, which there is not. It is weaponizing the justice system if you did do the Georgia, despite the one that
if they coordinate,
that's weaponizing the justice system. So all these, I keep hearing these congressmen saying, "Well, this is the wrong one to do." Then what were you wanting to do? Even drop the case, which sets precedent for, you just keep doing campaign finance violations because that's not a problem in the country. Wink. And, you can't weaponize the justice system. It's exactly what they would say you were trying to do.
What if we charged people, no matter who they were, for all the crimes they committed when there was evidence?
You mean like all human beings?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Like, what if, because that really gets rid of the question then of this is the good or bad one to start with.
But what if I had so much money I could break laws?
Well, that is a thing, currently.
That is a thing, apparently. I think that's why we're here.
Really, you can do that, yeah. You can do it for at least 50 years, apparently. Yeah, I mean, I think that yeah, sure. This is not the ideal scenario, but the ideal scenario is that Donald Trump was convicted for his horrible racist practices in 1998 and like never became president of the United States. Like, so like that I didn't have. The ideal scenario is that I didn't have to go back and watch The Apprentice to make clips for a podcast multiple times in my life, but I've had to. Like the ideal scenario is that we're never here. So I don't know why we're arguing about, like, not you and I. This is not personal.
No.
Like
just
the
politics of bullshit.
Yeah, why we're even talking about
this.
like this is not the right case to go first. Okay, point taken. What's your solution to that? Do you, like you said, do you want to drop the case? Like, I'm sorry that the legal system does not play to what is politically beneficial to you. That sucks. But you could beat Donald Trump without any of these indictments if all of you ran on progressive values and actually did them. So I don't know what to tell you. Stop. I think that Joe Biden is actually doing a great job with this indictment. Every Democratic politician should smile and go like, I don't have anything to say about that.
I don't know what you're talking about. I know nothing about nothing.
Yeah, I think every Democratic politician should be doing that, just smiling and saying,
do what the mob does, just like Don.
That's up to the New York. Yeah, that's up to the New York District Attorney. I'd love to take questions about the Green New Deal. Like just pivot, because the fact is we all know how you feel. It's not like
you're giddy. We know. We don't need it. I don't need to know that. I'm
everyone
giddy.
Should be giddy. The whole world should be giddy. Like, he's a bad man who deserves incarceration.
Like, it's a sacrificial lamb. Like, and again, there are so many other people out there who aren't famous. And that's the thing. Like, this is why this is such a pivotal moment, and why I wanted to do Indicted, and why I like it's not just because, oh, Donald Trump's getting indicted, we got the content. No, it's because there are tons of billionaires, millionaires, thousandaires who have committed crimes that he's committed, and they get away with it because they're white guys, or because there's some sort of privilege, or because they know a guy, or they know a judge. Like all of this, and he is the shining example of Teflon Don, affluenza, white privilege, whatever you want to fucking call it. He is the example of everything wrong in the country, every law, every white collar bullshit, every sex pest, every piece of shit. He embodies it. Like Thebstart embodies America. He embodies American business corruption, American grossness, all in one person, and he's about to get his ass handed to him by every single thing. And the last thing I'm going to hit on, and I want you all to sit with this, because Andrew made me aware of it, and it blew my fucking mind. In the state of New York, if you are convicted with a felony, and you've been asking yourselves, why is Donald Trump freaking out so much about something that's going to result in a fine? That's campaign finance crime. He's not going to go to jail. It's a fine at the end of the day, especially for someone like him. If you are convicted of a felony in the state of New York, your blood is then tested in the New York system, run through the system, so it could be tested against sexual assault. Good night. Indicted, The Alleged Crimes of Donald J. Trump is a production of Shway Media and America the Podcast presents. The show is created by Tim Phillippe and is produced and hosted by Tim Phillippe and Andrew Turner. The show is mixed and edited by Tim Phillippe at Shway Media Studios in Austin, Texas. For more information, please visit americathepodcast.com and shwaymedia.com. Thanks for listening.
This has been a production of Shway Media, all rights reserved. For more information, please visit shwaymedia.com.